We're live, we're live, we're live. Hey, empowerment family. It looks like I'm going to be alone for a little while this morning because Mr. B is actually rocking out with his client on the consult. But that's okay. We're still going to do agreement number 3 in the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And before we get that in, we are going to be... Before we get that in, we are going to be back in a moment.
Good morning, my name is Brian McNeill.
And I am Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And thank you for joining us on our show, Let's Talk About It. We come to you each Monday through Friday right here on the SIBN network, on iHeartRadio, YouTube, TuneIn, as well as Facebook Live. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Like. Good morning, like. We have a special guest today in addition to our third agreement that we will be tapping in today. The third agreement. We are going to have Lessons and Legacies herself joining us, Miss Melissa Price. And if she gets here early, she can just co-host with me until Brian shows up. So we'll see what that looks like. But we have gone through 2 of the agreements, and I'm going to do a brief recap in just a second. But how was your hump day? How was your hump day? I'm curious. How did your first 3 days of the week go? Because if we evaluate them properly, and we typically do this on Wednesdays, we forgot to do it yesterday because we were rocking out with the agreements. But if we evaluate them, then by today we should have either made some tweaks or realize some things, see how things are moving forward, and be able to act accordingly. So be sure that you take some time to evaluate. If you don't evaluate, then you can keep going down the same path without making any adjustments, and that could take you further down the wrong path because you haven't noticed. You got to take your head up to notice whether or not something is actually going to hold on 1 second. Whether or not it's actually going to be rocking out or working. So hold on. Thank you to our co-producer. So hold on. We got it going here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, Melissa, for checking in. And again, today is the third agreement that we are going to review. And if you would join me, Melissa, Brian is actually on a call. So if you would join me early, then you can come up and co-host with me. That would be great. Today's assumption, well, let's do a review on the previous agreements first. So the first agreement was be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. If you don't mean it, don't say it. If you don't know it, don't say it. If it's not your business, don't say it. If it's somebody else's business, don't say it. Just be impeccable with your word. Number 2 was don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. What someone else thinks really is none of your business. What someone else thinks really is none of your business. Then today's agreement, it really is. First of all, don't take it personal. I wish more people could get it. Today's agreement number 3 is don't make assumptions. Asking all them questions, why you asking all them questions, why you asking all them questions, making statements, assuming. So I love that. That is one of my favorite YouTubes for a long time. Emmanuel is a comedian. Him and his brother would do that, and I really love it. But anyway, don't make assumptions. You don't know what you don't know. Sometimes you can't even make assumptions about your own thoughts. But I really enjoyed thinking as I was listening and researching this, there was an example that was given about not making assumptions. Understand, we make assumptions all the time, every day. Sometimes our assumptions are right, sometimes our assumptions are wrong. I might tweak this a little bit and say, don't take assumptions too seriously. Give yourself an opportunity for things to prove out, for things to become what they really are, for you to be able to see them clearly from different perspectives. Because assumptions, one of the assumptions that was in the example that I read was the imagine that you are. Good morning, Glenda. Good morning, Brittany. Thank you for joining. We're talking about the 4 agreements, and we are on agreement number 3. Don't make assumptions. The first agreement, again, was be impeccable with your word. Number 2 was don't take it personal. And now agreement number 3 is don't make assumptions. So here we go. Here we go. You are walking in the mall and you catch eyes with a handsome stranger and they smile and then they keep walking. Some might make the assumption, that was a very pleasant exchange, very nice person. Others might go off into the assumption, oh, he smiled at me or she smiled at me. She must like me. Oh my goodness, they must really want to, start something with me. You might go into the assumption of going down. You're still walking in that mall. You haven't even spoken to the person, but that smile, now you turn into an assumption that turns into a whole litany of things. Oh, we're going to get married and we're going to have children and da da da. Or the opposite. Oh my goodness, that person is creepy. What are they smiling at me for? They probably want to kill me. Those assumptions are wasted. Now, I'm not talking about intuition. I'm talking about assumptions. Obviously, you can have some assessments in intuitions that may be for protective reasons, but even your intuition could be tainted by your experiences or colored by your assumptions. So be conscientious of that too. So assumptions, what kinds of assumptions have you ever made that may actually be the crux of some disappointment? Sometimes assumptions can really put a relationship in a space. Good morning, Yvette. Good morning, Brittany. Good morning, Glenda. Alicia's going to be joining me soon. Hopefully, Brian will also be joining me soon. But so, asking all them questions, making statements, assuming. I think I would rather that you would ask the questions versus making the assumptions, because when we ask the questions, we at least give the person the opportunity to bring you into their understanding, their observation, their perspective, their thoughts about what it is that you are conjuring up in your mind. Somebody comes and arrives to work and they rush past you and you say, good morning, and they say nothing and they keep racing off to where they're going. You can make the assumption they are rude, and then you can take that assumption to the next level. Oh, that person is so rude and I don't talk to them no more and I don't have nothing to do with them. But the truth of the matter is maybe a few other things happened instead of that. Maybe they were not rude, they were late. Maybe they were not rude, they were unprepared. Maybe they were not rude, they were flustered. Have you ever been flustered when somebody speaks to you that you may feel uncomfortable with, and you just lose your words. I think I told you guys a story about when Brian and I first met. You guys, I know Brian has told you the stories, but a lot of times he mentions that I went to work right away. She went to work right away trying to support me. The truth of the matter was, he took my breath away for a moment when he spun me out and he brought me back. He kissed me on the cheek. That's the first time we met, and he was just so polite, and it kind of threw me. So I had to go get away and get busy. So get busy fixing. How you okay? Let me set this, and so sometimes assumptions have absolutely nothing to do with what you actually think. And I find it interesting that wars can start with assumptions. Divorces can start with assumptions. All different types of discords. If you want harmony and if you want peace in your life, then don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. Take things, as they say, with a grain of salt. That doesn't mean you don't get to set boundaries. You can set boundaries, but ask questions. I would set a boundary if someone consistently was consistently abrupt or consistently rude or whatever. Then I would may decide, you know what, I'm not going to have that question for that. I'm not going to ask that. I'm not going to address or greet that person anymore. Good morning, Dr. Deborah. I'm not going to greet them. I'm going to just stay to myself. Now, if they approach me later and they say, you used to speak to me every day, you used to say hello, what happened? Well, that's an opening. That's a question, not an assumption. So, with that question, it'll give me the opportunity, hey, Dr. Deborah, to say, oh, it just seemed like, I just decided that you never responded. So, I was going to just continue about my business. And then they might give you an answer, or it may be different. Again, they may tell you what was going on. Girl, I had so many things going on in my life at that time. I really didn't even know how to talk to anybody. Well, okay, now that's great. I mean, I'm sorry you went through that, but I didn't make any assumptions. I'm not even gonna interject myself into whatever they're dealing with. But you get to do 1, 2, and 3. 1, be impeccable with your word. That is, just because that person was a certain way doesn't mean I'm going to put my words on them to the general public, if you will. Number 2, don't take it personal. I get it. You're busy. You don't want to speak. Okay. You're lost. It's not going to kill me. So I'm going to move on. And then number 3, don't make assumptions, because of what a person is going through, you may have absolutely no perspective on, no understanding of its origin, its meaning, its belief, none of that. And those assumptions can actually hold us hostage in our growth and development. Making assumptions about things that are going on around us, about things that are happening, and then taking it personal, that's like a double whammy. I think Brian shared the story of a couple of weeks ago, and maybe again this last week, I think, about the husband and wife who would enjoy breakfast together every morning. They would enjoy tea, toast, and jelly. Good morning, Michelle DeWitt. How you doing, Arthur DeWitt? Tea, toast, and jelly. They would get up to the breakfast table, and the plan was to have tea, toast, and jelly. The wife made the tea and sat at the table, and the husband would make the toast and jelly. And this time, I think they had already been together about 20 years, and they're sitting at the table, and he gets the bread out of the loaf, and he takes the butt. We call it the butt in my house. Some people call it the heel. Some people call it the ends or whatever. He takes the butt, and he takes another slice, and he puts them both in the toaster, takes them out. He puts the jam on the butt and puts it on the saucer and gives it to his wife. He puts the jam on the second piece of bread, puts it on his plate, and gives it to himself. And his wife has had enough. That's it. 20 years, 20 years we've been having this tea, we've been having this jam, we've been having this toast, and for 20 years you keep giving me the butt of the bread. And I hate it. It's selfish, and I don't understand why for all the things that I do, you're going to give me the butt of the bread. Melissa, you remember that story, right? And the husband is like, I've been giving you the butt of the bread because it's my favorite part of the bread. And I thought you liked it too because you never said anything about it. He was making a sacrifice. So he made an assumption that since he likes the butt, everybody likes the butt. She was making an assumption as well that her husband was giving her the butt of the bread because he didn't care. He didn't care for her. He didn't care for her feelings. And so for 20 years, she's been harboring this resentment about something. First of all, if she had done agreement number 2 and not taken it personal, she could have had peace. But agreement number 3, if she had done earlier, instead of assuming that he was deliberately giving her the ugly butt of the bread, ask him for the other piece of the bread or tell him I prefer the second slice, not the butt, they could have had even more harmony in their home. Melissa says that one always makes me tear up. But how many times in your own life, in your own family dynamic, has there been an assumption of something that turned out to be completely the opposite? Right? In many different upbringings, people are brought up differently. Some homes are brought up quiet, talking quietly, everybody keeping an inside voice like this, and that's it. And some homes are loud and laced with profanity, but they still have love. That's just their way of communicating. They call each other names, da 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 da, whatever the case is. Now imagine 2 individuals coming together in a partnership who hadn't observed the other one's family dynamic before they entered into their agreement. And they're having some friends over, and then one of them starts talking real loud and cussing profanely and all of that. And the other one is like feeling like they were put in a position where they were being mocked or ridiculed. And the person who came from that loud, boisterous family doesn't have the opportunity to explain it because they don't even understand what's wrong. What's the matter with you? We were just having fun. Everybody was laughing and joking. And now all of a sudden you got an attitude. Well, they don't understand. And because they don't understand, they're making some assumptions. That's right, Melissa, that story as well about the 2 guys in the hospital. They were in their hospital beds, and one had the view of inside the hospital. The other had the view of a window. And the one at the window would tell the one that didn't have the window view about all of the beautiful things that were going on outside. He was describing the children playing. He was describing the trees. He was describing the sky, the sun, the people walking to the person in the other bed. The person in the other bed had no view except for the nurses that were walking in and out, and that was it. And he was frustrated. He was actually jealous. He was angry that how did this person get the better view? I should have the view. Well, the guy with the view began to cough. He began to choke, and he tried to catch his breath. And because the one without the view was so angry that he didn't have a view, he didn't push the call button. He didn't lift a finger. He didn't do anything to help the other gentleman. And the gentleman died. And when he died, they rolled his bed out of the hospital room. But before they put a new bed in its place, the gentleman without the view said, "Hey, wait, can you pull me over there to the window? I'd rather be next to the window." And the nurse said, "Sure." They move him over to the window and they put the new bed back where he was by the door. With great difficulty, he begins to try to sit himself up in this hospital bed so he can look out of the window. And when he looks out of the window, he sees a brick wall. And it was then that he realized that the gentleman who had that bed prior was actually creating an imagery for him to entertain him, to encourage him, to brighten his day, and that he had allowed him to slip away into sleep and pass away because he was angry and jealous. He had made the assumption that the view was better from the other side and that something was being withheld from him. How are your assumptions hurting someone else, or even hurting yourself, hurting your peace, destroying your joy? If we can assume that this world is anastrophic, which means that everything in this world is conspiring to bring you joy, to bring you peace, to bring you bounty, to bring you beautiful beauty, to bring you everything that God wants for you to have. If we can make that assumption, then we can attract that joy, that peace, that harmony that we really, really would prefer to have in our lives. Michelle DeWitt says she works with someone that's loud. And sometimes it can be disheartening when someone is just loud and all for no good reason. But sometimes it has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's just their background. I forgot to take my spray. So in my green room, about 9 minutes before I expected her, but I'm glad that she's here and she's beautifully dolled up today. I don't think I've ever seen you with that much shine on. So I am excited to bring to you. I'm going to allow her to actually, instead of being my guest, she's going to be my interim co-host. The author of, I thought I had the book here. You got the book handy, Melissa? Good. The author of Lessons and Legacies. I am looking forward to bringing up to you, Melissa.
Good morning.
Praise. Good morning.
I love that story. I love. I love both of those stories. I've heard you tell them both before, but yes, those are excellent assumption stories. So
absolutely. I think that they really are. Go ahead and hold up the book, baby.
Hey.
There you go. Lessons we've learned, legacies of life. Yes. I want to put down here your link, lessonsandlegacies.company.site. Whoa.
Hey, Michelle. I see you. Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be 75 degrees today. I got my sunshine. I went out and I
got my belly out.
Oh, really? I went out and bought a yellow nail polish yesterday because I'm leaving for the beach in the morning, and I had to channel my inner Lisa. And I said, I
got to go get mine redone. I got to get them redone. They were chipping, so I went ahead and took it off, and I'm going to go back to the nail salon and let them put them on new.
Let them have their way with you.
Let them paint it again. Yeah, I love my yellow nails. My toes last longer than my fingers. I don't know why. But Melissa said, I want to go. She wants to go to the beach. She want to go. Michelle DeWitt says, hey, yes. Hey, Queen. I love it. You are growing that hair, Melissa.
I just can't get to the salon, man. I'm trying hard to keep it going. My husband wants me to keep it long, but I don't know. I'm in that whole zone. I'm ready to chop it again.
Well, that's where I'm at. I'm in the middle zone. I'm ready to cut it, but I think I'm just going to do the mohawk for the summer.
You rock the mohawk. You rock the mohawk.
I think I'm just going to do that. I'm going to let it grow tall, but I'm not going to get this. I got to take this off. But so what are your thoughts about, first of all, introduce yourself in your book however you would like.
Okay. Well, I'm Melissa Price. I am born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I've been in Charlotte for 13 years. In July will be my anniversary. I am a mother of two amazing little girls, Charlotte and Sophie. They're my little mini kidpreneurs. And as you guys know, I am an author. Thank you so much, Mama Lisa, for helping me get this project out. I've wanted to be an author since I was 12. And unfortunately, my father and stepmother did not seem to think that that was going to be a lucrative career for me. So I did not end up going to college for writing like I wanted to. They said I would be a starving artist if I decided to be a writer. So I went to beauty school, which did not work. And I went to real estate school, which also was bad timing because the economy in Michigan was nosediving like crazy. And then that didn't work out. And so after that, I just took a long stint of 20 years in the restaurant industry. And thankfully, after being in the empowerment family circle here, was inspired and given enough backing and encouragement and coaching to be able to finally birth the project, which I was grateful enough to do, lucky enough, privileged enough to do with my mom from states away. So I am just so grateful. And I do have other projects in the works. And yeah, so other than that, I've got the e-commerce store, which also came about because of Mama Lisa and her wonderful teaching. So lessonsandlegacies.company.site was born. And what else? Podcasting. I started podcasting. I've got Lessons and Legacies podcast on YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And my new schedule is going to be Mondays and Fridays at 2:00. It's getting real nice right now. And you know me, I like outside. So I want to have that freedom to go take the kids out hiking in the mountains and, you know, bring school to the park and stuff like that. So we're doing a light week.
I love it. I love it. Mondays and Fridays.
Mondays and Fridays at 2:00. Yes.
I love it. Love it. Dr. Deborah is giving you some love. Love me some Melissa Price. Amen. Happy today, family from Bill. That is awesome. Beautiful ladies. Thank you so much. Glenda, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Melissa, what are you thinking about our topic today? This is the third agreement. Don't make assumptions.
Yeah, I was asking yesterday because I wanted to prepare a little bit, kind of marinate on it and just like kind of reflect. I didn't get the show topic till this morning when I woke up. So the first thing, of course, when you hear assumptions is assuming makes an ass out of you and me. That's literally the one thing that came up was like, boy, assuming can really get you into trouble, you know, and those two stories that you told are perfect examples. Even the thing when you started in the beginning, the stranger that smiles at you, the first thing I thought of was like, oh, well, I would think he's checking me out or she liked my outfit or something like that. But maybe they were just smiling because the thought crossed their mind, you know, it has nothing to do with me. But yeah, assuming can get you into trouble. Definitely.
I think it can. Now, I have to tell you, Papa Brian was fussing yesterday. He said, Melissa asked twice for what's the third agreement. I said, I know. She just wanted to know. He said, well, she could look up everything else. She could look that up too.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it on your page till this morning. And I actually had to go try and find it. So it just popped up on, I think it was your page or the Empowerment Duo.
Both. But the thing is, Stephanie says, love you, yellow. Hey, Stephanie. The thing is, these are not our agreements. These are the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And this is a very popular series. I actually found quite a bit about it. But this particular agreement, I think all of them really piggyback on each other. I think they really do. I think being impeccable with your word, that was number 1. Then number 2 was don't take it personal, right? Don't take it personal. It's a big one.
I get caught in that one.
Do you?
Well, I'm sensitive. You know that. I'm like a super, super hypersensitive person. So that whole don't take it personally thing. I feel stuff that I don't even want to half the time, you know? So it's hard for me. I have to make a really strong mental effort not to take things personally, just because that's just what my body does. It just naturally goes like, oh, it must be something I did wrong, or it must be I have power over this. I can affect it. Da, 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 da. You know, I could have done better. I could have made a different choice. You know, so I do. I get caught in that don't take it personal one. But like when we discuss stuff like this, it really helps keep that fresh in the forefront of your mind, so you can kind of act and respond in better ways.
And I really think the reason why we do that, not only I hear you when you say that as an empath, it's the energy that comes to us as well.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I think it is the conditioning. We've been conditioned in some areas, not just by what we feel, but we've been given a groundwork of you're not going to, it must be you. You're not going to be good enough. You're not going to be, they're not going to like you. You're not going to, we have these conditionings, as Dr. Deborah will call it, these limiting beliefs that have worked their way into so enmeshed into our mind, our energy, that we often can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined, because everything is colored by this shade of gray, if you will.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing that we can do for that is to actually go back, get help. You can't always do it by yourself, but go back and figure out when the first time was that you automatically came to that conclusion. You automatically got that assumption, because it really was right before that something happened to create the interpretation of what you think you hear and you think you see. And it's usually not your own. Thank you, Bill, for your announcement. Melissa's
for freezing on my end.
Yeah, you're frozen. There you go. You're unfrozen now.
You guys let me know if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My screen was like blacking out for a second there.
Yeah, you were frozen for a moment.
Okay, so, you're frozen to me. Sorry. I got airplanes flying overhead. It might be that, but I think a lot of what you're talking about, it comes for me. I think a lot of it comes from how I was raised, how our parents were raised, and I think that also funnels into how society is. You know, society is the way it is, and we're wrapped up in this shade of gray because of generations of teachings, generations of things we were taught. And you know, I think those mindsets don't really serve us in the way
they don't serve us
back in the day, you know.
But they won't dispel themselves. They have got to be dispelled. On yesterday's show, the 4:00 show with the Stories of Overcoming, with my amazing guest Rebecca Jeffries and her awesome book, You Were Made for This. One of the characteristics that she shared about her son, who is on the autism spectrum, was that he feels things very deeply. He feels things very deeply, sensitively, empathically. And one of the things that he said, which makes sense, right? He said, why is there so much emphasis on the outside, on people's outsides, meaning the colors of their skin, right? Why is there so much emphasis on the outside? Now, from a Pollyanna standpoint, from a, you know, why can't we all just get along standpoint, that's a sincere thought.
Right.
That's really sincere, right? Why? It shouldn't matter. I still do. We still have the same blood. We still have the same hearts beating in our chest. The difference is the things that happened from generation to generation to create that division between the different shades of skin on the outside of people, that now causes certain assumptions to be made. And some of those assumptions are really more, or they started out as intuitions. They started out as intuitions because there was a time where you had to be on your P's and Q's if you were going to survive, if you
Right.
were, you know what I'm saying? So that was an intuition. But then hopefully we can evolve. But that evolution in that particular case has to be on both sides of the table. It can't just be one set of people evolving. Everybody has to evolve, and getting everybody to do anything is going to be different. Now, Stephanie says, however, as we become enlightened, we can assist in changing the paradigm. Absolutely. I think that is where we can help change the narrative, if you will.
Right.
Today at 6 p.m. on Clubhouse, Bill Brown is inviting you to join him in a conversation on your self-awareness journey. Stop trying to be your best self. Just be yourself.
I'll be
I
there.
love that, Bill.
I'll be there.
I love that. I actually have a class tonight. I'm teaching my publishing group tonight, so I will not be able to be there at 7 o'clock. Arthur Lynette. Hey, Arthur Lynette. And Bill says, I notice many of my assumptions are rooted in a belief or judgment that I'm holding on to. Often that is very, very true. That was what I was trying to articulate, maybe not so well, but that's what I was trying to articulate a moment ago, is that oftentimes assumptions are rooted in beliefs, judgments, or experience.
Right.
Sometimes you've had an experience that was so traumatic that you can't believe it could have happened any other way. So anytime you see anything even close to what that experience was, you get the same feeling and you make the same responses.
That assumptions and judgment go completely hand in hand, honestly. And I'll tell you, I'll put this out here, and just because I'm curious what your guys' feedback is, so I'll be real transparent, as you know I can be. So I had a conversation with my kids in the car yesterday. We went to go drop off the Lessons and Legacies gift set to Stephanie. So we got to take a night.
I heard, yeah.
You, man, she's even out further than you. But I said, she's like, don't come. It's such a long drive. I'm like, it's 70 degrees. I want to be out. I want the windows down, sun shining. Let's go for a ride. The kids don't get out that much, you know?
Right.
So we decided to just take a nice long car ride. We stayed and visited for a little bit and chatted out on the porch. And on the way back, out of nowhere, okay, so this is out of the mouths of babes, you know, little Sophie is like, well, they were talking in the back. They didn't initially start this conversation with me, but they were talking amongst themselves. And one of them said something, and I heard Sophie go, well, most of Mom's friends are Black. And I was like, of course, my ears perked up. I turned down the radio. I said, excuse me, what? She goes, yeah, most of your friends are Black. And I'm like, and she goes, and most of the people on your show are Black. And I said, well, all right. I said, while this may be true, you know, I grew up with a half and half family. One half of my family was kind of on the racist spectrum. The other half was not, you know, racist side of the spectrum. And then I didn't
know racism had a spectrum,
but okay. You know, grandma, you know,
okay, I got it.
Old generations here. And then, you know, the other half was just like, this is, and they know me. I'm very on the other, I'm anti-racist. And we had a big, long conversation about this in the car. But I was like, okay, so they just busted out with that. And I was like, well, you know, I said, they're not all Black. I said, I started listing off all these people. I was like, she's Oriental. She's white.
We can't say Oriental anymore.
She's got
we can't say Oriental anymore, Melissa.
Why? What is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing now. We can't say Oriental. Yeah, Oriental is for the food, I think. Oh. We can't say that. I don't know what we're supposed to say, but I don't think
that's news to me. You might just be assuming I'm racist by that comment.
I do not. But I don't think we can say that.
Okay, well, I retract that comment, and I was
trying to help you out.
So I was like, I'm like, as you're talking about assumption here, we talked about it, and I told them, I was like, to me, I said, racism is not liking somebody based on their outsides, and I said, that's a very bad thing, and we went through and they know, they're like, well, we love Black people. We like all people. And they're going on and on and on about it. But you bring up the assumption thing. It's like, I started thinking about it almost immediately after I heard the first 2 comments out of their mouth. Like, well, what does that say about me? What do you think about me? Like, where's the judgment on that? I feel like that assumption, and it brings that judgment in. I'm like, so all my friends are Black, or most of my friends are Black. Most of my show guests are Black. So even as my kids, what does that say about me? How are you viewing me? What does that mean to you?
Right. And the fact that you parallel assumption with judgment, and you also, it sounds like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like the word judgment has a negative connotation.
Yes, I think it does. I've been doing this back and forth with William Brown for several weeks now, the difference between judgment and discernment, and I feel like when you're judging, you are looking for something that's wrong. When you're discerning, you're looking for the right, Discernment, there's this great quote that I found online the other day by a guy named Charles Spurgeon, and it said, what is it? Discernment is not knowing the difference between right and wrong. It is knowing the difference between right and almost right. So there's a different mindset with judgment as there is discernment. If you take it to the Bible, God doesn't want us to judge. He's the judge. He's the only one that can sit there.
Well, that's not completely true. That's not completely true, because the Bible also says to use righteous judgment.
Discernment.
No, the word is righteous judgment. I hear you saying discernment as a clarification of what you're saying it means. And that I understand that, because going again back to the origin of words, the etymology of the word, I think that the evolution of that etymology has made it have a negative connotation. Because I simply think that judgment is assessment. When I'm judging, like yesterday, I wanted to buy a bookcase. I had to make a judgment call because I didn't have the measurements of what size bookcase to put in the corner that I want to put in, right? So I had to make a judgment call. It wasn't good or bad. It just was. It wasn't good or bad. It just was. It would be wrong if it was wrong. That would be bad. Right. But I had to make a judgment. I decided to judge not. I decided to come home and get the tape measure out.
Right? Yeah, I would have done that too before too many. Then you got to move in, move out, all the extra labor that you could incur on that.
Absolutely. But it's still a judgment. I tried my discernment. My discernment was, can I eyeball it? Is that about right? 2 arms could fit in there, whatever. But the ultimate judgment call had to be made. Melissa, you teaching, that was amen. From Dr. Deborah. Yvette says good morning, and again, Bill, good morning from Yvette. It is 9:42. Oh my goodness! Today at 12 noon, at Heart to Heart Conversations with Stephanie, her special guest is Brittany, and they're going to be talking about blessings. Your blessings.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm tuning in. I saw it. I texted her a couple days ago, Stephanie. I was like, I see you got Brittany coming on. You're going to have so much fun. I love Brittany. Brittany has been on my show probably more than anybody besides Precious, but Precious co-hosts with me on Fridays. So she don't really come up like that, She's already like in there. But Brittany, I think we've had her on 4 or 5 times now. 5.
We told Brittany she's a co-host, de facto co-host now.
I love her. I love her. Brittany is such an amazing spirit. I can't wait. I'll definitely be tuning in and blowing up the comments for you guys.
Awesome. So, Melissa, gotta ask you, are you gonna do the songs with me today, baby?
Of course I will. I don't know how good it's gonna come through with both of us on different feeds here, but
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Down. Where's Papa?
He's got a cut. He's got a client that he's working with.
He didn't want to see me today, or what?
He's got a client. He's actually on on a consult call this morning with a client since 7 a.m. So we had thought he would be finished, but he's not. Or either he decided he was not going to come to work today. So, so Melissa, you want to sing your own song?
Okay.
You gotta go. I'll be Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta get your sip.
Ready?
Yep.
Bam, 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 bam. Now it's time. The time is now to sing our song. Melissa's song.
I love it. It's so much fun.
I do that in the bathroom every morning with you guys. I gotta get.
Yay! All right, it's Glenda. Do you know Glenda's song?
Glenda's riding on the freeway. Whoa, with the pink Cadillac.
Yes! Good morning, Brittany, Ziegler, Woody. Thank you for joining us. We still don't have your song. We gotta get it. We gotta get it. It's Yvette. Dear Yvette. Dear Yvette. Dear Yvette. Dear Yvette.
Oh, goodness.
Absolutely. I love it.
This is the highlight of my week.
I gotta get these get them up in order. Hold on one second. Dr. Deborah. Dr. Deborah. Healing and deliverance coach.
Mm-hmm. Come on now. We gotta have a revival once this pandemic breaks, and we gotta have somebody recording this, and it'll be like a whole group sing along.
I know, I love it. Do you know Michelle DeWitt's song?
I don't. She's got hers is newer, right?
It's new.
Do it.
It's do it, Misha. Do it, Michelle. Do it. Oh, DeWitt. DeWitt. Michelle DeWitt. Do it. Michelle DeWitt. DeWitt. I don't know. Brian sings it. I got it messed up.
I'll groove to it.
We'll get it. And it's our friend Bill.
Good morning,
to our friend Bill.
Nobody thinks like him. We love
him so, and we always will.
Our friend Bill.
Yay! We love you, Bill. Stephanie, you ready?
All right. Stephanie, life has no meaning to me. There's beauty up above, and things never take notice of. We wake up, Stephanie, you're in love.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Melissa.
I should have brought a microphone with me. I'm gonna use the remote instead. Hey, Poppy.
I'm so happy
happy Thursday.
I'm glad that you were here to help my baby.
Hey, I'm trying. I don't know if I'm helping or hurting with my vocals here today. I'm trying.
Grab the mic, Melissa. You inspired me.
I've got a remote. I'm working the remote today.
That'll work. I love it. Let's catch these. Melissa does great with the songs. Brittany says it's so entertaining. And Glenda has got her hearts and she's so happy. Yvette says, thank you for sharing my song, dear Yvette. I love it. I love that song from Melissa. Good morning, Brenda.
Hey.
Let's do Brenda. You ready?
Ready. It's tricky to buy our homework. Don't do it until Brenda. Hey, choose Brenda.
Did I do the third agreement?
Yes, we did the third agreement. What the heck?
No, we just been in here singing the whole time.
Right, just saying. We got some more people I think we missed.
Brittany?
That's right. It's Brittany.
It's Brittany Thomas.
It's Brittany. It's Brittany. It's your time.
It's your time. Yeah.
I love it. Yes, Melissa did her song too.
I did. We opened with that one.
Melissa. That's right. I think we got Arthur Lynette.
At this table we sit, making it legit. Because when Lynette hits the show,
I like this, Melissa. Good job.
So much fun.
I love it.
All the songs, Melissa. Wow.
Absolutely.
I've been rolling with you guys since the beginning. I've heard these songs over and over. It's my shower music. I will sometimes get in the shower and just start going through everybody's songs.
Wow.
We miss Vivian. Where's Vivian? There's Bev. There's Beverly. Beverly is on the show.
That's right. Hey, Dr. Beverly. And that is the first comment that came through. I apologize. I'm not sure why it didn't come through, but we got you now. And I thought I saw Vivian. Do you see Vivian?
I didn't see her, but I love her song. I love Phyllis. We've got God. There's so many. There's so many that aren't here right now. I know them all though.
I love it. Oh, wow, we had an amazing time. And agreement number 3: don't make assumptions. We have come to some revelations, and one of the things that I think we agree with is that assumptions and judgments somehow go together, and can constrain your joy and constrain your peace, because we're making some assumptions. What Bill said, I noticed that many of my assumptions are rooted in a belief or judgment that I am holding on to. Wow. And Melissa even indicated that some of her judgments, some of her assumptions may have been sort of as a result of youth, as a child. Yeah.
Right.
So many assumptions we hold on to, things we learned as a child that just don't work anymore or are not true anymore.
Right.
Oh, Miss Vivian is on a different side as well. Okay, we got to sing Miss Vivian.
Oh, Vivian. Whoa. Vivian Reed is here. Vivian Reed is here, and now the show can go on.
I love it. Good job.
Beverly says everyone is on a different page, a different side of the page or something. That could be, but they should all blend in together. For some reason, it's been acting up on that end.
So that's why you can't see some of the people.
That's why we can't see some of you guys' comments. We do apologize. The best place to be at is still the Empowerment Duo page. It seems to be the main link. I think that is gone already. But we have coming up next at 10 a.m. right here on the Empowerment Duo Facebook page is Coffee Time with Coach Ja.
Ja is in the house. Boom, boom. Ja is in the house.
Very long session with an amazing client. She's out of New York. And so it was just really, really nice. I just had a great client this morning.
Great. And Ja is in the house. He says, good morning, everyone. We're getting ready to turn it over to you. Coffee Time with Coach Ja at 5 o'clock. I mean, at 5 o'clock. At 10 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right.
I love it. So, Melissa, I want you once again to share your book, Lessons and Legacies.
Lessons we've learned, legacies of life. Yes. This is a great book. If you guys have I know most of you on here probably already have the book. I know most of you do already that I'm seeing in the comments, but if you don't have it already, please visit lessonsandlegacies.company.site. This is a collaboration between myself, my mother, and many other people, men, women, and children all over the world, ages 4 to 94. It's a collection of poetry, stories, quotes, testimonies, lots of beautiful art. Full color copy is $25, black and white is $20, and you can get a digital download for $9.99. And in addition to that, I've got lots of other goodies in my store. Inspiration for all generations. We've got candles and kits, tutorials, services, greeting cards, art, spirit squares, everything in between. So take a look around and know that as you're finding some inspiration for yourself, you're also helping support my dream too.
Absolutely. How awesome is that, Melissa? We love you, love you, love you. Now, we usually have the guests put down by this time, but you have been holding it down as my co-host. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to close out with Melissa up here. I am Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And I'm Brian Keith McNeill.
And she is?
I am Melissa Price. Remember, there's a blessing in every lesson, guys. The world is always working for your good. Anastrophic mindset. Boom.
That's right.
Love it.
Mic drop.
Good job.
Mic drop. And today is Thursday, so you might as well have sex.